Question number 1. We've got this racing track and we've got two people, Adam and Ben. Ben runs around the edge. Now what it means there here is along here and up across here. So that is 320. When I went through this with the other group, some people thought he went all the way around the edge and therefore they wrote down 640 there. If you've got 640 because you misread the question, I'll actually give you full marks. There's 1 mark for each answer here. Part B, Adam is running across here. So we need to look at a triangle. We've got 200 there, 120 here. This is Adam's running thing when I've got the X. So to find out the X, I'm finding the longest side. I will start with 120 and I will square it. That's not the longest side, sorry, the 200 is the longest side. Then square them both, the 200 and the 120, add them together. And after I've added them together, I get 54,400. The final step is square rooting. And when you square root, you get 233.24. So if you've got 233.2, or more exact than that, that's fine. We use Pythagoras in this question because there are no angles involved apart from the right angle. That's when you use Pythagoras. C is just a difference between these two answers. So for me here it will be 86.76. If you had 640 here, if you add 320 you'll get an alternative. So 3 marks there, 1 mark for each part of that question. In question 2, we've got to find this distance here on this triangle. So we've got a right angled triangle, 2, 1.5 and a side we don't know, a right angle down there. No other angles are involved, so it's not going to be trig, it's going to be Pythagoras. Start with the longest side, which is 2, square it, which means times it by itself. Over here, 1.5, square it. We're finding the longest side, so we need to add those together. That's 4, that's 2.25, add those together at 6.25. Final step is square rooting, that gives you 2.5. There are 2 marks for that question, and 5 marks altogether on that page. In the next question, we've got a rope of length 10 metres stretched from the top of a pole 3 metres high. So there's a pole 3 metres high, and the rope is 10 and it meets the ground. That is the triangle you should have in this question. Find out how far is the end of the line, which is there, from the base of the pole, which is there. That is what we've got to find. Again, there are no angles involved apart from the right angle, so it's going to be a Pythagoras question. Start with the longest side, which is 10. So we'll have 10 squared. See if I can sort that focus out a minute. Then 3, and we'll have 3 squared. Because we're not finding the longest side, we're finding one of the 2 short sides, we will do a taking away. If you do that sum, you have 100, take away 9. That's 91. And when you square root 91, you get 9.5. And there are 2 marks for that question. 2 marks for that question. The next questions are these double triangle questions, and I'll let you know now there are none of these in the test next Monday. There are none of these double ones. So, in this question, first of all, we've got to find out, finally in this question, we've got to find this distance here. So if we're going to be working on that distance, we need a right angled triangle with 2 numbers on it. Well, there's a right angled triangle there, but there are not 2 numbers on it. First of all, we need to find this side here. So what I'll do is sketch out this triangle first, which is the 8, the 6, and the side we don't know here I'll label Y. We'll find that out first of all. So can anybody tell me what sum am I going to do here on this one? Yep.
8 squared plus 6 squared.
Yep. 8 squared, 6 squared, because I'm finding the longest side. It'll be an adding up question. If you do that, you get 100, and if you square root 100, you get 10. So this side here is 10. I can now write that on there. So now I can start work on my triangle with the X on it, which the question gave me. It's only a rough sketch, not exactly like this, but the numbers are in the right place. So I've got to find out the distance on here. Can anybody tell me what to do on this one? Yes?
100 squared, take away 7 squared.
Oh, well, 10 squared,
Oh, yeah.
which gives you the 100. Okay. 7 squared, which is the 49. Are we doing an adding or a taking away in this question? An adding or a taking away?
Taking away.
Yeah, we're finding a short side, we do a taking away. You do that, you get 51. Final thing to do, square root that, you get 7.1. 7.1 is the answer for the first one in that question, and that's worth 3 marks. If we look at the other question, or part B, similar sort of thing. First thing you need to do is work on this triangle here. The 4 and the 5 and this diagonal side here are called Y. So, is there anybody who can tell me what I need to do in this one? Steve?
4 squared plus 5 squared.
Yeah, okay. 4 squared, 5 squared. I'm finding the longest side, so I add those together. When you do that adding up, you get 41. And then you need to square root the 41, and you get 6.4. I now know that this side here is 6.4. So I can then work on the triangle with the x on it, which they're talking about in the question. I've got the 6.4, the 3, and the x. Anybody tell me how I can solve this one? Amy?
6.4 squared plus 3 squared.
Yeah, it's a plus because I'm finding the longest side. If you do the plussing, you get 50. You square root that, again you get 7.1. So they're both 7.1. So it's 3 marks on each of those questions.